for more on the Edo election, we're now being joined by SAFIYA BICHI AKUSON, the Head of Knowledge Management and Learning Manager of the Youth Initiative for Advocacy, Growth and Advancement Africa, also known as YIAGA. Many thanks for joining us today on Newsday, SAFIYA, to talk about the Edo elections and the role of CSOs. I understand that YIAGA has recently trained over 500 observers, 543 observers, ahead of the Gubers in Edo State this Saturday. Can you tell us more about this training process, your deployment strategy as well, and just how crucial this is ahead of the elections on Saturday?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me on the program today. For us in YIAGA, it's very, very important for citizen observers to be trained in order for them to effectively participate through monitoring the election process. And this is what enables observers, guarantees, or protect their mandate on election day. And we've also known, and I'm sure you've also followed the occurrences in the pre-election environment that has been going on. We know how Edo has been in terms of marking out some local governments as battlegrounds for the elections. And this is due to some of the past experiences the state has had in terms of elections. This, which includes local governments with high number of registered voters, local government with high turnouts in 2016 and 2019 elections. So, and if you look at what has been happening lately, there are more competitions in terms of when it comes to political party campaigns in those specific local governments. So for us as an institution, it's very important for us to enter the elections with prepared citizens that are conscientized about the process, and citizens that knows how to also report the occurrences at the polling unit. And by this, we believe that it will not only deter fraud, but it will also expose some electoral malpractices, be it from the Electoral Commission or from the or any of the political parties that is contesting in the elections.
All right. There is a report that there's going to be a peace accord to be signed by both contenders, Izayamu of the APC and, of course, the incumbent governor, Obaseki. What's your sense of this peace accord?
Happily, my organization is part of the organization working towards that. I would like to start by saying that if you observe at the beginning of the pre-election environment, the beginning of the political party campaigns, we've recorded, Edo State has recorded a lot of electoral violence and even violence indicators. And if you've seen the YIAGA past report, we've marked 13 local governments as hotspots for violence, and this 13 out of 18 local governments. And this is a lot. So it calls for a need to call both parties. And from this report, you see that major perpetrators and victims of this violence are members of the major political parties as APC and PDP. And so there's a need to call the parties involved into signing a peace accord that will guarantee the safety, life, and properties of people of Edo State. We've done a pre-election survey, and we've also understand that from the survey that citizens are interested in participating in the elections, but one of the major hindrances will be the fact that will be electoral violence. And in order to allow citizens to participate freely to exercise their franchise, there's a need for a peaceful election environment. And as such, other partners, including YIAGA, came together to say, we need to call these people together to sign a peace accord, not just sign a peace accord, to pledge that they will participate and encourage their supporters to participate peacefully. Because we've also seen in the a few weeks back, we've seen candidates, we've seen political party actors inciting and encouraging their supporters to participate in the election in a violent way. So there's a need for them to come together, renounce this process. Even though we've seen traditional rulers like the Oba of Benin a few weeks ago, like about 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago, calling all contending partners to come together and embrace peace and engage the electoral process in a peaceful way. But we also need them to put this to a commitment to signing a peace accord. And we hope that this will be helpful in the moving elections. We've seen that happen in other countries. We've seen that happen in 2015 elections, and it actually worked. And the hope is that this will guarantee a safety and peaceful environment for the for voters and citizens to exercise their franchise generally.
Well, I mean, that's the hope, especially because Edo State, in its nature of politics, is also quite an insecure state when it comes to elections anyway. So it's quite worrying looking ahead with Saturday being so close by. One would hope that organizations like yours are doing everything that you can to find a way to encourage and ensure peace. And it's good to hear that you're doing that. I'd like to touch some more on your pre-election report that you brought up. You spoke about the 13 areas that you identified as hotspots. Have the authorities acted on your findings, and what are the key findings would you say that you'd like to point out from that report and make the public aware of?
Yeah, I think the major findings, which are not interesting as we will love to put out, is the fact that there are so many indicators of violence coming out from the pre-election environment, and some
Right, it's looking like we've lost connection with SAFIYA. We're hoping to get her back. All right, I'm learning she's back. SAFIYA, continue.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so some of them are, like I mentioned, increase in activities of thugs and cultists. We've also seen, we've also recorded arms building in some local governments, people gathering light weapons and small arms and light weapons, and this shows that there's a likelihood they're going to use it during the elections. We've also seen attacks, both physical and verbal attacks in political party campaigns and rallies. So these are indicators, or these are things, and we've also seen the political parties coming out to accuse each other on different cases or situations. So this also tells us that, and these are actually marked around these 13 local governments YIAGA pointed out, because for us, it's not enough for you to say, oh, there are possibilities of violence, but it's also important for you to highlight and identify this. For the authorities, I can't say political parties have completely backed out. Probably after this peace accord, we're going to see a change come September 19th. But what we're also encouraging security agencies is not to just come up with measures for election day process security, but can we see them actively tackling these issues as the election draws near? We remember our experiences in Kogi State. We've warned that this will the occurrences or the violence incidences that happen in Edo State, in Kogi State will likely happen, and it happened. So for us, this is something we shouldn't take lightly, and that's why we're also partnering with other partners to say, okay, beyond this, can we also talk to the political parties, because they've always been the actors in these elections. They've always been the actors in not just the election, in when it comes to electoral violence, and these are things that discourages people from voting. And if you look at Edo State's turnout from 2016 to 2019, there has consistently been reduction in the turnout of voters. So how do we also encourage people, in as much as we're asking all stakeholders, including INEC and NOA, to invest in voter education and sensitization? So you cannot encourage people to turn out to vote when you know that the environment is not safe for them to vote. And for these same citizens to share in the citizen perception survey that their biggest fear is electoral violence, and this will be the likely reason why they will not turn out to vote. So there's a need for all stakeholders, and this is what we've been preaching. I'm saying preaching because it has been repeatedly said by not just YIAGA Africa, but even other media organizations.
I do think we have lost connection there again, unfortunately. It could be the weather today, actually. It's raining very heavily.
Dogs. They usually say cats and dogs, but okay, yes. She's back now.
Great news.
More question for you, because we don't have all the time in the world. You know, even when this peace accord is signed, you know, I'm always wary of the followers, you know. Oh, my God. All right. I'm always wary of the followers. What do you think would be the best approach to rein them in? I mean, the followers.
Yeah.
In 30 seconds, SAFIYA, if you can.
Okay, like you said, the followers have a leader. So the best way is get the leaders to call them to order. Once their leader calls them to order, we believe they will listen to their leaders, and they will they'll stay away from violent conduct.
I hope they listen to you, and I hope they get to do that. I know that even one of the contenders, as Ayemo said, from when the Tenedor bars get together, that they'll have to go. All right. Thank you so much, SAFIYA, for your time on Newsday.